Well, with me now is Marta Kochanowska Hodder. Her father, Janusz, died when a plane carrying the then Polish president crashed near the Russian airport of Smolensk in 2010. Marta, thank you very much for coming in. I would imagine an incident like this stirs very unhappy memories of all that you went through.
It does, John. We have been following the plane crash in Malaysia the Malaysian Airlines very carefully ourselves. It brings very vivid memories of the 10th of April for us and my family and everyone that was involved in that crash. I distinctly remember I was in London at the time, waking up in London and getting a text, not getting a text message, but seeing on my phone, having a message from my mother to call home as soon as possible. And we saw on the news headlines that a plane crashed in Smolensk, and I knew that my father was on it because I knew he was going with the delegation to Smolensk.
And you, I mean, we've watched over the past few days, the families sort of in a hotel where you almost get a sense that they're surrounded by the media, that they can't move without a camera lens pointing in their face. They can't make an exclamation or cry or whatever. And I just wonder what that must be like.
I mean, it's incredibly distressing to see that that's what the families are going through. There's been many mistakes made with our investigation, but I must say that we have had the time during the immediate aftermath to be without the cameras. We have had very little information given to us. For example, we did not know that we should be gathering at a hotel in an airport to get any information. We only found that out through other families as we were speaking to each other. So families gathered in one hotel and were given some information, but again, very, very scarce. Now, we weren't surrounded by cameras, and that was a great comfort. And now watching the families from the relatives of the Malaysian crash so distressed and so under public scrutiny, it's very distressing. It is
extremely distressing. I just wonder whether you can understand that feeling of, I need proof. I need proof that I've lost my loved one. I can't accept, even though you've got, you know, air accident investigations, you've got the, you know, the satellite companies, you've got the Malaysian Prime Minister, everyone seeming to accept that it's gone into the southern Indian Ocean. But for the families, they need something more. Do you understand that? Absolutely.
They have gone, although a lot of people will say it's a death, it's a very tragic death that is not within our normal lifespan. We don't understand it. When someone dies, you either have a doctor coming out to you saying your father, your mother have died, you can identify a body or you can see a body. These families have none of that. It's been brutal for the last 2 weeks. They've had hope that their loved ones have survived, and they will continue to have that hope. And without proper and transparent information, the families will never be able to put this to rest. We have exactly the same issues, even though in our case there was wreckage. There allegedly were bodies.
We're showing a photo now of your father. Yeah, and you know, for you as well, you went through that doubt and you
yes,
wanted.
And we still do. We've had just very recently, in the last couple of days, reports of incorrect investigation conduct into the investigation by the Russian authorities, and therefore we're asking to open their investigation again. So we're in the same boat, even though to Malaysian families and the Chinese families, we are so much further ahead than they will probably ever be.
Yeah, I mean, that's such an interesting thing you've just said, because, you know, people use this glib phrase, which I personally hate, called closure, you know, get closure, as if you lose a parent and it's just easy to move on with your life. But you seem to be describing a situation where you always sort of want to pick at something to see if there's anything more that you can find out. And that must make life very difficult.
It does, and I don't think there's such a thing as closure. I think what you're trying to do is rebuild your life on a new foundation, and you learn to live with the tragedy that has happened to you, but it's going to be your inheritance for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I guess, you know, I mean, you obviously came together with these families. Would you seek to go and advise, talk to these people and say, look, this is what's likely that you're going to go through over the coming weeks, months, years?
I think it's very difficult, because each family and each family member will go through this differently. I know how it happened in our family. My brother, my mother, we all went through this differently in our own way. And that is how people go through this. There are, however, organisations that are superbly well prepared to deal with this, and counsellors that unfortunately deal with plane crashes and mass fatalities incredibly well. And that is one recommendation I would make, is there is assistance out there, and there are experts out there, and the more that the families have of those experts, the easier or more bearable the process will be for them.
Marta, lovely to meet you. Thank you very much indeed for coming in to talk to us. Really great pleasure. Thank you very much.